Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are tuning in from. Welcome to Coaching Over Cacao. My name is Kiki, and today we're going to be talking about intentional connections, making friends on the Book of Face. So, thank you for joining in. How do you currently approach friend requests for your personal brand? Are you using Facebook and other social media platforms for marketing your spiritual business? So, I had a coach very early on in my business want us to connect with 250 friends. And that was part of the training of her program. It was kind of one of the milestones. And I definitely went through and did it, but it felt very similar to what I was taught to do in corporate. I called it the spray and pray method. Like, hit a ton of accounts, reach out to a whole bunch of people and pray they will respond. And it just felt a little misaligned. It worked on LinkedIn, but it really didn't, because it was just you're spreading out yourself, you're requesting to connect with all of these people. So I am more intentional in my spiritual business online, who I'm connecting with. Like, I treat it as my digital house. We were talking about my profile on Facebook, and then we have a business page. I consider that my digital brick and mortar. And then I have Facebook groups, and I consider those my personal, like, digital cafes where I go and hang out with my people, my friends, and we network and we connect and we have a good time. So, knowing what I know now about myself and my soul aligned client, I am way more intentional and specific on both who I send requests to and who I receive them from. So, I'm curious, do you have a system or boundaries in place for your intentional connections? Are friend requests something you're doing as part of your business plan to get leads, to bring in new soul aligned clients, and to grow your business? I would love to know in the comments below. If you're catching this live, let me know. Catching this on the replay, love to hear what others are doing. So, I hear so many of my clients talk about the algorithm. It comes up in my strategy sessions, it comes up in my coaching sessions, it came up quite a bit in my program Storytelling Magic. And there's this perception and fear around not being seen, not being shown posts. And it was me too, right? I used to believe, oh, this is an uphill battle. No matter what I do, I'm not growing. And the more that I learned about the algorithm, the more I understood it's more about what I do and don't do on the platform that sets me up for success. So, I discovered that it tracks my activity. So, I'm oversimplifying this, but stay with me. It tracks, it mirrors, and it rewards our behavior. So, what do I mean by that? If we start to connect with more people, i.e., sending friend requests or messages, it starts to track that activity. And it will mirror that activity by starting to recommend what it calls lookalike audiences, or similar people to those you've recently connected to or reached out to. So, I don't always take the recommendations that it makes, but sometimes they're super helpful and it has connected me to great people. Other times it's a little off base, but it learns and it gets better the more you say yes or no to those friend requests coming your way. So now it's mirroring you. Then it begins to reward you. So if you begin to do an action more consistently, so if you're sending friend requests Monday and then Tuesday and then Wednesday, it's like, wow, they're consistent. They're on the platform more. We want to keep them here. So it's going to start recommending you to accounts that look like who you're requesting to connect with. So it'll track your activity, it'll start to mirror it, and then when it sees consistency, it starts to reward you. So the bottom line, if we aren't doing much in the way of connecting, the algorithm, won't do much for us in the way of connecting. So we have to lead it with our consistent, intentional connections and actions. So I have one profile. I am one person. I highly believe and recommend this to all of my clients. Be you in one place. Several years ago, I had two profiles, and I had two profiles on Instagram, and I was trying to keep things separate. It hurt my brain. It was a lot to manage, and I wasn't being my authentic self in all the places. I was showing parts of myself. So masks are off. It took some time and some inner work, and it was such a relief to just be me in one place and to show up in one space and talk about it. So your friends and family are a benefit, right? If they're liking your post, if they're following your post, that's great news. It will show and share the algorithm and help share your post with more people. And not necessarily friends or friends of friends, but a brand new audience who didn't know who you were. So mixed thoughts on family and friends, and they can still be your friend and unfollow you if they aren't interested in what you're posting for them in their feed, and then they can still search for you and stay in touch with you, so they can still see all the family photos and what's going on in your life, but they can pick and choose how they get their information. So that responsibility is on them, and then you get to decide what the rules are for you and your digital house. So I go by the do unto others philosophy on Facebook with a little twist. So if I don't like something done to me, I won't do it to others. For example, one of my number one pet peeves is blind friend requests. So if someone just randomly sends me a friend request with no message, I don't accept. I look at their profile, see if I know them, if we have any friends in common, and then I send a message. Hey, thanks for the friend request. What drew you to my little corner of the internet? I want to see what they say. So I send requests, and many of you in my world right now received a request, but I immediately follow up with, hi, we're in a group, or I saw a post, I really liked your response. I connect the dots as to where I saw you, how I met you. I also have said I'm all about intentional connections. If this resonates with you, I'd love to be friends. And I throw in some little emojis, and then I leave it up to the universe. If it's meant to be, they'll respond, they'll accept, they might decline, or they could ignore me. But I'm completely detached from the outcome, and I believe that the right people will say yes. So how does that feel to you? Do you like to get a message with someone connecting the dots, how they know you? Do the blind requests bother you? I'm very curious if I'm the only one, so let me know. So I leave it up to the universe to connect the right people, both for my group, for my profile, for those that are going to like my business page. And I started to develop a 5-step system. I do not spend a ton of time on social media. I don't. I want to free up my time and energy to connect with my clients, to be human, and to provide value and create content and gifts and tools that others can use to make that bigger impact on the collective. So Monday through Friday, I set a timer. I spend 30 minutes. Early in the AM works for me. You can honestly do this whatever time works. I don't get on socials before 9, and I really have been cutting myself off at 5 or 6 p.m., and that's made a huge difference on my sleep, as I do connect and check messages. But as far as outbound activity, Monday through Friday, I am on Facebook. So what am I doing? I am responding to any new messages. That's my first priority. Who's messaged me, and respond. Then I go in and I drop love on folks on my feed, my business page, if there are comments and likes, and in my personal groups that I run and manage. And then I engage and comment in a very few select groups. I go out, I be human. So I spread myself really thin, and I was in all of these groups, and I was splitting my time, and I wasn't getting any traction anywhere. So with my recent digital cleaning, I Marie Kondoed my groups and parsed it down to the ones that I hung out in the most, where my people hang out, whether it's peers or my soul aligned client, and just the feel good, like the energy's good. They're not high promo groups. And I just show up in 2 or 3, check most recent feeds, be human. Maybe I'll post myself. And then the 5th one that I just started doing is I leave a few voice notes every day 2 or 3. This can be people you know, this can be friends, this can be people you've recently connected with, but it has really started to build momentum and traction, and it's also helping build confidence, right? And I'm starting to notice I'm writing closer to the way I'm speaking. And then with this 5-step system, I started to notice what felt in alignment, what felt out of alignment. And then I started to create non-negotiable boundaries for myself and my business. So these might feel good to you. Take what you like, leave the rest. So number 1, no responding to DMs in the evenings or over the weekend, unless I personally want to. This was a hard one for me, and it was more about me than anyone else. We get that message and we get the ding. So I had to turn my notifications off, and I realize and tell myself, it's okay. You don't have to respond right away. Like, other things are happening, because I found I was breaking up and not finishing what I was doing. And I was stopping and starting and stopping and starting to respond to messages coming in. And it's not like a traditional email that I would check once or twice a day and respond. So wanted to come up with a system for me where people were still getting great customer service and getting responses from me, but I wasn't draining my energetic battery. And then 2, when I receive a blind friend request, whether it's with or without a message, I don't accept it right away. I do send my message eventually, usually in the morning, Monday through Friday. If I get them over the weekend, I don't respond until Monday. And I send that message, thank you so much for the friend request. What drew you to my little corner of the internet? I'm very curious how people found me, what they're looking to do. And it really helps me suss out the bots, the appointment setters, and the sales pitches. Are these people that are just going to show up and throw up in my DMs? And I had one the other day. Couldn't tell by the profile what they did. And they had some posts on spirituality and the solar eclipse. Didn't get a negative vibe from their profile, but I really couldn't get a gauge of who they were. We didn't have friends in common, and I couldn't find that we were connected in any groups. And this show up and throw up. So as soon as I sent the message asking if they knew me or what drew them to me, it was this long DM about cryptocurrency. So I made it really easy. Just delete or block or whatever you like to do. Number 3, I don't answer coaching or marketing questions in the DMs, right? I take inspiration for them, for my content, for coaching over cacao topics, but I value my time, my experience, and my gifts. And this was another hard lesson for me to learn. But I believe in an energetic exchange. So you're going to get the most value and the most out of your questions when you pay for a service, because I believe the transformation begins at the transaction. There will always be people asking for help and assistance, and I can point in the right direction. I can give software recommendations. I can help with these coaching videos. But what I'm talking about, the deep questions where it's not a Q&A. Like I need more information, and that's really going to fall under a coaching session or perhaps a healing session. So learning to say no, here's my booking link, and stand my ground and stand in my power has really been beneficial to both myself and my business and my clients. I see them get better results because when you pay attention and you have more skin in the game. I also noticed when I was offering free sessions or trade for testimonial in the beginning of my business, I had very high no-show rates, very high reschedules. So people weren't valuing my time or their time. And it was a frustrating cycle to be in. So this non-negotiable boundary has really helped with my sanity and my business and my clients. So it's this beautiful cycle of win, win, win. 4, when I am running programs or group coaching, I primarily use an app called Voxer and my email to communicate with my students, my coaching container, because I'm not on social media that often. So other than those 30 minutes Monday through Friday, I'm not checking messages, and I don't want to miss anything. So they send me a DM, I'm redirecting them back to Voxer so that 1, the group can benefit from the answer because maybe someone else had the same question. And 2, everyone can benefit from each other's expertise. I'm not the only one. That's one perception, but now you're getting the group think, and each one can weigh in and share from their area of expertise. And it's this beautiful, all of us are growing together. And there might be times where I get a DM and it's more personal or one-on-one and it's not for the group, and I just ask them to send me an email. It honestly is happening less and less now that I'm setting this up and we chat about my office hours. I think it's so easy when you have a digital business, and whether you're starting out or at a later age state, to get caught up in that, I need to respond right away. Oh, what if I don't respond? Are they still going to reach out to me? Are they going to find someone else? So having that confidence and also that protective nature over your time, your energy, and taking a step back, and how do you want your business to serve you? Right? Many of us began this, yes, to help our clients, to give them the transformation and hope that we found for ourselves, but also probably time and financial freedom. We want to get out of the 9 to 5. Maybe that wasn't our jam. We want more freedom, and then end up working 10, 14, 16-hour days, 7 days a week, and are more burnt out and overwhelmed than when we were in our 9 to 5. So creating this structure for yourself as close to the beginning or making minor tweaks along the way has made a huge difference for me and my business. And like I said, these may or may not resonate with you, but just giving you ideas of what things and types of structure you can set up for yourself. And then the 5th non-negotiable, which kind of goes a little bit with the first one, was I don't need to respond to every single message right away. Right? Some people are very excited to connect. We're going back and forth, we're sharing stories, and there might be multiple messages, there might be multiple voice notes. I love that. I'm like, ooh, these are my people. But depending on what I'm doing, or maybe I have back-to-back client sessions, I don't want to just rapid fire, short, little curt response. Like, I want to give them the same response and answer. So I keep telling myself, I don't deliver babies. And 99.9% of the time, messages can wait until the next morning, or if it comes in over the weekend, till Monday morning, right? And that has really been a game changer for me mentally. And I realized these are things that were in my head. It wasn't from feedback I was getting from anyone. People weren't upset, oh, you didn't respond to me. Like, the digital space is such a different place than the traditional 9 to 5. And I sent you an email 2 hours ago. Why haven't you responded? So having to shift those gears took a little bit of time and self-coaching and training on my end. But making these changes and sticking to my guns has really helped. So I would love to know what stood out to you. What are you going to try or probably implement? And yeah, what strategy are you going to put in place? Do you have non-negotiables already for your business? So these are my tips on intentional connections, making friends on the Book of Face. So let me know if you're catching this on the replay, #replay. What stood out to you? Hey, good morning. I'm so glad you enjoyed. Which one of my non-negotiables hit home for you, and which one maybe felt a little triggering? That's not my intent. This is all with love, and these are things that I set up for me. What works for you? And start with one. Don't jump out of the gate and I'm going to do this, and this. Try one a week, right? Does that feel good? Is that in alignment with you? So thank you so much for joining in. Until next time, get out there and embrace your magic. Bye, friends.